Now that we've created all our pages and they're all linked together, we're going to have a look at adding a menu to make our links look a little bit more nicer on the page. So to do that, we want to make sure we come into our code, and before unordered list, we need to add some additional code called nav to tell it that it's going to be a navigation element. We come down to the bottom here and we'll close that off. So you can see there, when I've typed in slash, it's automatically completed that because it knew I had to close off a navigation page. Now I could come along and type that code again on every page that I have this links, but I might just copy and paste that block and come along and replace each block to add that nav link in there. Now I'll come up to File, Save All to make sure I've saved all those updates. Next thing we want to do is change the appearance of our links here. To do that, we're going to use our CSS file, so it updates it for every page, so we don't have to copy and paste it again. So in your CSS file, .css, we want to start adding some new rules. This time we're going to write a lot of these one by one so we can kind of see how each one affects our navigation element. So we'll start by typing in nav ul, open the curly bracket, and we'll close that off with a gap in between. Now if you notice as well, if I come over here and hit refresh, it's automatically added the rule to our rules here. So we'll go and add a few more while we're here. So we need nav ul li, open it up with a curly bracket, come down 2 lines and close it. We need a nav ul li last child, again opened and closed, and the final one is a nav ul li a. Alright, so to see what these kind of things are going to adjust and fix on our page, let's go back up to the nav ul. We'll refresh our code over here, and we can come along and click nav ul, edit that, find list, and we're going to change the style type to none. Go ahead and press OK, and you'll notice there the dot points have now disappeared. So they're still a list, but they don't have any style applied to them. So next thing we'll do is we'll add a background color just for our list. So in this case we can come up here to nav ul, edit that again, come to our background. This I'm going to type in the hexadecimal value of B577B5. If I click into another field, you'll notice it'll update automatically here for me. Again, I don't have to type these numbers, I could select the color if I prefer. Hit OK, and there we have our menu, has a background added to it. Next we'll add a border to that. So again, edit rule, in our borders, we want our size to be 4 pixels and it will be same for all. The style will be a solid border, so we could have a dotted, dashed or double groove, etc. if we wanted, but we'll go solid. And the color, this time I'll just choose 000 to have a black border. Go ahead and click OK, and there's our border. The next thing we want to do is add a radius to that. So if I edit that rule again, you'll notice that in our border we don't have any choice to actually add a radius. So sometimes we actually need to manually type our CSS code. So over on the code window, I'm going to just type in border dash radius. You can see it's tried to fill it in for me, so I hit tab to select that one. And it's going to be 10 pixels. And you'll notice that hasn't updated, so we might need to actually come over here, preview that in Chrome. Yes, I want to save them now. And you can see there I now have a radius on my menu bar. I'm going to go ahead and close that. And I want to add a separate font to my menu so it's a little bit different from the page and stands out. I'm going to edit this rule again. Click on that and edit this rule. come to type, font family, and I'll just choose that one for now. Hit apply. You can see there it's updated. Let's choose a different one. And choose one until you find one that you like. I'm also going to make these ones bold. Change my font weight to bold. Hit apply to see a preview of that without updating. So next thing you'll notice is that line is very close to our letters there. So I'm going to come down to our box and I want to add some padding. So let's go with 16 pixels. We'll keep it same for all. Hit apply and you can see there I now have a border around my text to space it out a little bit more. So next thing we want to do is update our list items inside the unordered list. So this one we'll need to type in. So over on our code window we're going to type in display inline. Refresh that and you can see all of our items in that list are now in line with each other. As we said earlier when we first added these, it's very hard to distinguish the difference between each one. So we'll go into our navul li rule, we'll edit that rule, and down on border we want to add a right border. So this won't be same for all, it's going to be a solid border. Our width wants to be 2 pixels and our color again will be the same as the outside, so uncheck same for all, and we want this to be the black. Hit apply and you can see there now I've added a little border beside each element. Again we need to space these out a little bit, so let's go to our padding and change the right and left to 8 pixels. Hit apply and now we have some nice spacing between those borders and we can clearly see that each one is a different length. But you'll notice here we now have a border here on the right which we don't really need. So hit OK to get out of that one, and we want to come down to our last child. Let's click on that. We're going to edit that rule, go to border, uncheck same for all, and we want to change the right on this one to none. Hit OK. You'll notice over here in the code it says border right style none. It hasn't updated over here on our preview screen. If we click on live, we can actually see an update and it's disappeared. Alternatively, we can click on our preview and preview it in Chrome browser. Yes, save them all now. And you can see there, it doesn't have the border on the right of privacy. Let's close that off. So next we want to get rid of the underline under each of these menu items. If we select the navul from our rules, we'll edit that one under category type, text declaration, click none, hit OK, and the underline has been removed and our menu looks a little bit more nicer. Next thing we want to do is make sure our text blends in with the rest of the page. At the moment it is all blue. We don't want that for our links, we want them to be black to match the same color text as on the page. So we'll edit navul li again, and under color we will choose the same color font as we've been using, and you can see there now they've all updated to black. So let's preview that in the browser to see how that looks. So we click on About CSS, and you can see there, because I did this in the CSS file, it has updated it for every single page. So you may remember earlier we had already set a rule for an unordered list by changing the font size to 16 so that on our CSS page the text font here was the same with the rest of our page. If we have a look again at our CSS code, you'll notice now I have two of them, UL there and UL there under the nav component. These are two separate entries. If I look at my source code for my page, where my links are, you'll notice that this unordered list comes under the navigation component, which means that anything that affects this will only happen on my CSS code that is under the navigation UL. By doing that, when I've got my list over here with these dot points, that is not affected at all. So in this case here, I still have my dot points where I don't have them on the menu up here. If I went again and added some nav tags, I'll put that at the bottom of my unordered list as well, and refresh that page, you'll notice that my list is updated to look exactly the same as my navigation bar. So I'll go ahead and I'll undo those tags now to reset that back to the way it's supposed to be. So it's handy to know that if you want to use a list to help order a menu a little bit easier, it's going to be a navigation tag or a navigation element. So it's okay to have them as a list, and it's not going to affect the rest of the list on your page.